Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together, and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about a number of things, and they'll all be links in the show notes below. I'll try to put all the links to them and maybe include the trailers to the shows if you're looking to watch them. We're going to be talking about a lot of content today, specifically through the Netflix a streaming platform. But before you get into the Netflix streaming platform, why don't you head over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button for Homeschool Together and get all our latest videos and reviews and our vlogs as they come through, and you can follow along as we continue our around the world journey. Part two.
Bringing in some things for our older learner and some other topics. We've got some other vlog videos about just general homeschooling topics and traveling tips and just things we're going to be doing. So yeah, look for all of that.
So we went ahead and pulled together some great content for Netflix. So this is piggybacking on the episode that we had last week, where we were talking about using streaming platforms as a way to accentuate, grow, expand on your homeschool, especially as your learners are getting older and learning those great creative learning, understanding how to view the world through media, and having a critical eye when doing so. Today we want to talk about Netflix. We want to talk about some topics and some ideas and some subjects that we wanted to do. And so first thing, obviously, let's talk about preschoolers.
Yeah, we thought this was important to do because there's just so much content out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So we wanted to give you guys kind of just our top recommendations of things. We, full disclosure, we haven't watched all of these because we just don't have enough hours in the day, y'all. But we watched a lot of them.
Yep.
And the other ones we did quite a bit of research, and they look like they're going to be really great, and they got good reviews. So we wanted to talk about them.
Let's talk about the biggest thing you want to teach besides your ABCs to your children when they're preschool. We want to teach them about numbers, and you can do that through the Numbers Blocks show. Very similar to the Alpha Blocks show, I believe.
Right,
That's
which is
on YouTube.
YouTube at this point.
Yeah. So very fun, playful, animated series.
They're blocks with numbers on
They're
them.
blocks with numbers. I mean,
but it's not as annoying. So there's a lot of really annoying preschool shows.
There's probably 90%, I would say 90% of preschool shows
really bad.
are really bad.
They're really annoying. And so those ones, not annoying, teaching numbers. It's great. Yep. Our next one is Super Monsters. Our older daughter liked this when she was younger, and now our younger daughter really loves it. Super Monsters is it's an animated show of a bunch of kids. They love
this show.
Yeah, they do. Like, it's Dracula's kid and Frankenstein's kid and things. And they go to a preschool, and then they're like normal kids by day, and at night they turn into super monsters. And it's all about modeling kindness and the correct behavior.
Yeah, all the social emotional stuff. Yeah,
this is all social emotional. But it's all done in the context of monsters, and it's not an annoying. No, it's not scary, and it's not an annoying show to watch. So that's why the not annoying is what we put on all of these preschool ones. I just didn't want to give you something that was going to drive you crazy. But yeah, Super Monsters is one that we've really enjoyed, and I think it's a great way to model how they should behave in group settings and things like that. So,
next one would be the Aquanauts, which
Octonauts.
Octonauts.
I mean,
Octonauts.
It's about water stuff, so you think Aquanauts would work, but it's Octonauts.
So basically, this is just another CGI computer animated show, very similar to almost all the young kids shows now.
Yeah,
are all computer animated. So the anthropomorphized animals, they're using technology and science, and a lot of it's based on underwater.
Right. Every week they're learning about a different undersea concept.
Yeah, concept, and they're trying to solve a problem, and they go they go around under the water and do these things. I've seen this show a few times in the distance as my children are watching them, and they seem to like it. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I think
I always like those shows that have kind of like very similar to on we won't get too far, but on PBS Kids with like the what's the
Wild Kratts.
Wild Kratts, yes.
Yeah, so this one's nice because it just focuses on things that are in the oceans, and I think that that's really cool that they have that focus, that they don't try to go too wide. So yeah, Octonauts is a really popular one. We actually have a friend who's got a preschooler right now. It's like all into Octonauts. So
well, it's also based on books as well, if I'm right. So if you want to pair the two together, if you're looking for some books to read at night while they watch it during the day, it's kind of a nice pairing there as well.
That would be great. The next one is also based on a book. It's Ada to a Scientist. So there's a whole bunch of these books. Ada to a Scientist. Which one do we have? Is it something Revere Engineer or something?
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah, I don't remember. There's a series of these books. They're basically like STEM books for kids and with female leads. So Ada to a Scientist is a really cute little science show for preschoolers and to get them interested in science topics and things. So it's really cute. It's very well done. So yeah, I would recommend that one. And then if you have the Ada to a Scientist book, then you've got extra coverage. So I think that would be really cool to pair together too.
Yeah, it's a nice little starting thing for preschoolers. Obviously, there's way more, but moving on.
These are the ones that don't drive us crazy.
Yes, moving on to science. Emily's Wonder Lab. Emily's Wonder Lab. Stay curious and keep exploring. I thought it was a good show. I don't think they've gotten a second season on that one, or
I don't know if they have or not, but it's really cool. She's this like pregnant gal in overalls who does these really wacky science experiments. And what I love,
she had a nice energy.
She had so much energy that it was really neat teaching science concepts. Sometimes the experiments were so grand that like you would never be able to do them at home because of the scale of the experiments. And other times she did things that you actually could do. She had a great way of explaining it. So I think if you've got kids who are into science experiments, like to see that kind of thing, or you're trying to see if they might be interested in doing experiments at home, Emily's Wonder Labs, that's a good starting point.
That's a good one. The Magic School Bus rides again.
So it's funny because I remember watching the Magic School Bus when we were kids, and
we have a lot of the books,
and we have a ton of Magic School Bus books. I remember getting my first book in first grade. It was the Human Body book, I think, the Magic School Bus Inside the Human Body. So these are great shows, right? It's always about Miss Frizzle, the teacher who always dresses like whatever their field trip's going to be.
She's not getting any of the field trip passes. Parents have to sign. She's never getting those signed.
No. She never discloses all the dangers those students are going to be exposed to.
She's an insurance nightmare.
So, if you haven't heard of this, or you're outside the U.S. and it's not something you're familiar with, it's an animated cartoon where this really wacky teacher takes a group of students on a school bus, and the bus always changes into whatever. So if they're going to go down under the ocean, the school bus changes into a submarine, and then they all get diving suits, and it's all science concept based. So the show is really a great extension of the books. I mean, my heart belongs to the books just from my childhood, but it's a great show. It's always got good science lessons. Our kids are always really engaged when they watch it. So I think it has stood the test of time, and now it rides again.
Next one we have is maybe for a little bit older learners, maybe like elementary plus. This would be a show called Connected by Latiff Nasser. If you guys are This American Life fans, I believe he was on that show for a while, and he did a little spinoff here and did a Netflix show called Connected. What I like about it is, if you know about This American Life, I believe it's This American Life, I could be wrong, that he was on. He was a producer for it, I believe. And they do a real good job at finding, something, whatever that thing is. And then they find how those things are connected throughout, humanity and culture and all that type of stuff. That's what This American Life does a really good job at. Like, they find those human interest stories that can be exploded out into larger discussions on, whatever topic in the world. And he went ahead and did a very similar show to that, and called Connected, where he takes like a concept of, like, for lack of a better one, our daughters like it, poop. He talked about poop and processing waste, and how it's, it's something that we don't ever think about. And then you see these huge, water treatment plants and how they process it, and the dangers and the concerns about, pollution and things of that nature. Really doing that deep dive and showing how it's all connected, and how, for most people who are on, a sewer system and in the cities and stuff like that, this is something you don't even think about. And just showing how through this one concept, kind of fun concept, shows how we're all very connected and how this thing, interacts with everyday life. He did a number of these type of shows. Did one about nuclear weapons as well. That was pretty cool.
They're like kind of STEM type
STEM,
topics.
sciencey type of he did one on numbers and dust, I believe, as well. Very cool show. If you can just think about it as kind of like a This American Life episode in kind of a video form is the best way to put it. Next one we have is the black holes, the edge of all we know. And for me as a physicist and scientist, these are things that are a lot of fun. Black holes are kind of like the edge of existence. They kind of breaks all the rules. Mm-hmm. And I think big type of like cosmology discussions and documentaries on things of this nature are really cool. They have some cameo of Hawking before he passed away, talking, and he was obviously did a lot of research in black holes and Hawking radiation and things of that nature. So it's really cool to kind of like explore the big and show how that's connected. I love thinking on cosmic terms, because a lot of times we're just stuck in like, the office and the homeschool and whatnot, and really trying to imagine how large the universe is. And then also conversely going super, super small, going into the atoms and things of that nature, and just realizing how we live in this median world of the very big and the very small and how they all kind of interplay together. And this was a very cool documentary show.
Yeah, it's really neat
to do that. Moving on from science, I think one of the big things you get a lot of on Netflix and a lot of the streaming platforms are some just top-notch, stellar nature documentaries.
Yeah. I mean, I think the disclosure about nature documentaries is there is varying levels of death in nature documentaries. Some are more gory than others.
But we get dancing birds of paradise.
Yeah.
To woo each other.
I mean, this is some beautiful photography.
Yeah.
But, there's going to be, if you have a really sensitive kiddo, I highly recommend that you take a look at the Common Sense Media stuff before you watch one of the nature documentaries and make sure that there's nothing in there that's going to be too upsetting for your kiddo, because there is some death of animals, of course. That's part of nature. Some documentaries and shows show it more than others. Also, there's plenty of discussions about mating. And so just be prepared for, right? It's always about sex and death.
Yeah.
So just like,
I don't know if you want that with the 4-year-olds.
Right. So just be prepared. I mean, there's nothing graphic shown in any of these as far as that goes, as far as like mating goes, but just know that there could be questions. So that's our warning about nature stuff. So the first one that we wanted to talk about is Chimp Empire. It's a really cute show, and it's looking at the interconnectedness of a group of chimpanzees in Uganda, and the scientists all have given them different names. So it makes it kind of easier to follow, the drama and to follow the kind of what happens in their lives. You learn an incredible amount about these animals through this documentary, and because they all have names, it's really engaging. It's something that our kids can really connect with. So that was the first one that we wanted to mention.
The next one would be the Our Great National Parks. So this was narrated by the former president, Mr. Obama, and I think he won an Emmy for his narration, so it was very good. He's
on his way to an EGOT.
Well, he's
some way he'll get on stage and then
like all politicians, world-class teleprompter reader. So he's really good at emoting on the screen. So it's very, obviously very engaging and things of that nature. Really good one on Indonesia. I think Indonesia was kind of a thing for us with my little one with volcanoes, and so we were learning a little bit about Indonesia in general. So there is this really beautiful park there that has animals and whatnot. And so you get kind of in that ring of fire there through Indonesia. There's another really good one in Patagonia as well, where he talks about the park down there. That's something I've always really been interested in because it's kind of the end of the world. Really enjoy any documentary on that section of the world. Yeah. There's another good one a couple of years, maybe a dozen years ago or something, called 180 Degrees South, where some guys went and climbed some mountains down there. So I really enjoy those big. These are like mega national parks.
Well, and I think it's cool that it's not just U.S. national parks.
Yeah, you would think.
Because I think because it says our great national parks, it makes and it's narrated by a former president. It makes you think that it's only U.S. parks.
No,
but no.
No.
So this would be a great one too to go with some sort of around the world study.
Perfect. If you're gonna definitely tie it in there, it's definitely a great one to do.
Yeah, we'll have to take a note and remember that.
Another good one is Night on Earth. One of the big things I've noticed in the last 10 or 12 years is the technology that comes with the documentary, whether it's in situ cameras that are super high resolution, drone footage of animals and whatnot. Being able to ship high quality cameras to the ends of the earth, is really difficult. This one was really cool because a lot of animals' actions and interactions and activity is at night because it's in somewhat safer time for them to move around and do things. And then there's a lot of hunting at night as well. So a lot of animal activity at night. And what they were able to do was pull down some really high-end cameras that work in low light situations, not just infrared, shots of it. They were able to pull cameras that could work really well in low and sensitive light situations and really showcase the animals in more of a compelling, beautiful way, as opposed to just like looking through a night vision camera. That we've seen those in the past, and that's really cool to be able to see like a tiger moving through the woods, but to actually see the tiger in low light situations, almost as if you're being able to see in the dark as well, I think is it's way more compelling in that sense. They also had a whole episode on under the sea as well. So if you think about low light situation, and then you talk about being under the water, it's like no light situation. Being able to showcase the animals under the water at nighttime, I think is just really cool, especially in a beautiful, compelling manner. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, that is it. That's an exciting one. The next one we wanted to mention is Our Planet. It's kind of the next in the series of David Attenborough, right? We had Planet Earth and Planet Earth 2, and then Frozen Planet, and I think there was Blue Planet. And if there's anything with the word planet in it, and David Attenborough has done the narration, then it's usually a keeper. This is another one that's just great. This just happens to be the one that's available now on Netflix. I did read that there was this is one I may have nodded off during because his voice is so soothing. I feel like you have to have a cup of coffee before you watch it. Our kids are fascinated by him, so it's fine.
Oh, we have a recommendation coming up very soon that's going to make Ariel cringe.
Yeah. So I do love him, but I did sleep a little bit during parts of this one. But it is gorgeous. I did hear that there was some like repeated, penguins being hunted by orcas and walruses falling off of ice floes, and that might have been a little excessive as far as the animal death goes. Not gory, but just kind of they kept showing it. So, this one maybe if you have a really sensitive kiddo, our kids were not fazed at all. But just note that these ones can tend to be a little bit heavy-handed with, showing the drama of the moment of the killer whale throwing the penguin up in the air repeatedly and the penguin mama calling out for its penguin baby, things like that. Like they tend to really hype the drama, but they're so well produced, and our kids learn a ton. So I'm including it, but I just give a little note there.
Next one is a documentary called Our Living World. It came out just this year, and it was narrated by the beautiful Galadriel, and Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, no, she has a wonderful voice, and that's a perfect person.
To do that. This one, a lot of times we see with like the Our Planets and whatnot, they talk about the different biomes, or they talk about the different types of animals, things of that nature. This one talks a little bit more of like that weaving world of interconnectedness. And that's kind of the theme that kind of goes through all the episodes, really talking about how, there is this structure hierarchy of animals. And if you start to upset, portions of that could cause things to collapse and fall and become disconnected, and how those effects can impact downstream events. So if you're thinking about some type of, nature study that's more on the environmentalism type of thing, and you want to kind of get that, concept of the interconnectedness of creatures and critters and whatnot, and that would be a good one for you to do. Now, the one that I said Ariel might cringe at, and she knows who I'm talking about.
I do.
That beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man, the voice of an angel, absolutely wonderful. The man from Germany, Werner Herzog, has a documentary called Into the Inferno. I love Werner Herzog. Ariel cannot stand the man, and I love it. I love it for that.
To me, he just sounds like he's so slow. And then they looked over here, and you're just like, oh, come on.
And I'm here for it.
You love it. And you know what? I don't count, because our kids also love it. They're so hooked into it, especially our little one loves volcanoes.
Into the
so
Inferno,
she's just like totally in it. But I'm a hard pass, because I can't stand Werner Herzog. Here's my note about this. Watch a trailer of this. If the trailer doesn't put you off, you're good to go. But if the moment he opens his mouth, you're like, nope, I'm out, then just don't even try, because you'll never make it through. It's a very like personal preference thing, I think.
So this one is not all Werner, but Werner's a documentarian who sometimes makes himself one of the characters in his documentaries. Sometimes. He does a great job narrating. And this one, he partners with a volcanologist, and
it's not like he's not accurate. It's not like he wasn't there and he didn't talk to the people, but he just
his emotions,
the way kind of pompous.
He can plumb the depths of our human soul and pull out the.
But
meaning.
This one is a great documentary. Yeah. I have seen part of this one. It was really great.
Yeah, our daughter loves volcanoes. The youngest, it's a thing.
Loves it.
She just absolutely adores it. And so anything volcano, anything lava. Just absolutely fascinates her, and so went ahead and turned this one on, and Ariel fled from the room at near light speed, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a good one. Some really beautiful shots of volcanoes, I think, second to none. When you put a really great documentarian, team him up with a famous volcanologist, and then you put him in the field, I think you're gonna always have a good outcome, especially if it's Werner. Moving on from nature, going into kind of the social studies, history element. Miss Ariel, tell me about the Indiana Jones knockoff show called Ridley Jones.
Yeah, it's a really cute show. They say preschool, but I kind of would say maybe even early elementary. Yeah. Our rising third grader really likes this show, so I don't think it's limited just to preschool. But it's basically a show. It's an animated show about a girl who lives in a museum, and so she goes on all kinds of adventures, of course. But she learns a lot about geography and culture and history, and there's some science stuff mixed in there. So it's kind of an amalgamation of a lot. But she learns about cultures and things. And what I think is cool about this show is that it has so many like positive role models, right? She's really adventurous. She's really empathetic. She's a leader of this group of other kids. Yeah. And so there's some really good educational stuff that comes out of this about, animals and different geographies and things. And our kids just really like it. Whenever they see that it's on, they ask to watch Ridley Jones. So I think this is a fun one, especially if you have kind of the, earlier elementary, late preschool age kiddos to watch Ridley Jones.
How about History 101?
So this one's a documentary series that looks at different aspects of world history, and each episode is about something different. So like one's on space exploration, the other one's on fast food, there's one on robots and nuclear power. And cool. So they all have these different aspects. So it's a really engaging show. I would say, kind of pick and choose which ones you want to, the one on feminism clearly has some references to like birth control and some different things that wouldn't be as appropriate for younger audiences. Same thing with like, there's one on nuclear power that has some images of mushroom clouds and stuff that might be a bit much for your like earlier elementary. I think History 101 is much better for your older elementary kids. I think they'll just understand it a little bit more than the younger ones. But it's a really solid show. Has a lot of good things to learn. So I like History 101 as well.
And then Ariel, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, I remember like coming home from school to watch this show. Remember it was like a game show with the kids.
It was, yeah.
And I love
Remember
that.
it was like the Lady in the Hat. And
oh yeah, no, I mean I used to be able
find Carmen Sandiego.
I used to be able to sing the whole song. Our daughters, especially our younger daughter's not as much into it, but our older daughter is like all about Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, yeah. She's like a super spy, and
she loves this show. So it's a geography-based show. They relaunched it. What are we in? Like the fourth season now, fourth season. So it used to be this game show that was on like PBS or whatever. I don't know what channel it was on when we were kids, and it was a video game. And now it's an animated show on Netflix where every week she's going to a new region and she's working with, she has a team, and they learn some things about the country that they're going to, maybe a little bit about the people. There's cultural references to different things that are going on. And she's always trying to stop the evil, vile organization from stealing something or doing something terrible. And so she steals it first, or steals it back from them. She's always trying to thwart those guys. So it's really cool because it's got some neat geography information, cool cultural stuff to learn. And then it has lots of action and stuff as Carmen kicks butt, because she always does. And she's always working against them. But the one thing I would caution about this show is that they hop all over the world. You can't really just grab an episode. So like, oh, hey, we're studying Brazil this week. Let me just grab the episode where they went to Brazil. Because it does have a through line of the story. About her past and the teachers at Vile Academy. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on that I know too much about the show. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on with her and her teachers and all this stuff that you can't just hop out of order. So just know that if you're doing an around the world study, you're like, okay, cool, I'll just dial up this episode, that there might be if your kids don't care about the through line, that's cool, but there's a lot of plots that are going all the way through, and it might spoil some things if you start to watch it and then they go, what? This guy was actually blah, 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 So just know that, because I remember my daughter saying that, like, we can't go ahead. No. This hasn't happened yet. Wait, we got to go back. Like, we accidentally clicked on the wrong season and we went forward, and she panicked. So just know, but it's a really cool geography show. It's got a lot of action, and I do not mind watching Carmen Sandiego. They also have an interactive episode, which I think, I don't know that that one really spoils anything. So if you wanted to check it out, you could probably do the interactive episode, and that would be all right.
Those are some really cool things that Netflix has, which is those interactive shows.
Yeah, those are really cool. You you decide what happens to the people. Choose your own adventure type thing. Yeah. Anyway, Carmen Sandiego is a definite favorite in this house. Highly recommend that one.
So going on to skills, I know my daughters love Is It Cake? That is a big show that they want. But to do a little bit better on the cooking.
Because Is It Cake grosses me out. Or no, not Is It Cake. I'm sorry. What was that? Nailed It. Nailed It's the one that grosses me out, where they try to make these elaborate cakes and they look like really bad. And I'm like,
it's that meme. It's like, here's the thing. And it's like, I tried to recreate it, nailed it. And it looks terrible.
Right. But it just grosses me out. Is It Cake is kind of cool, but it's really just more of a game show about like, is this thing really a bucket or is it actually a cake?
To sit there, to come in the room. I'm going to set the stage. Sit in the room, come in the room, and you see two kids looking, like they're 1970s general managers at baseball game, and they're looking out there and just like staring out, and they're like, "What's going on?" I don't know. We're trying to guess which one is the cake. The two girls are just sitting there on their arms on their knees, and they're like, I don't know. She's like, which one do you think it is? I think it's the couch. No, I think it's the lamp. It's very funny.
They're trying to make like objects that are actually cake. That one's silly. But talking about skills, one that we like is the Great British Baking Show. Obviously, food is a junior. So there's a regular Great British Baking Show, which you can totally watch with your kids. There is absolutely nothing inappropriate. No. It is the most delightful of all competition shows. If you have not watched Great British Baking, it's fabulous.
We're big foodies, so we like cooking shows and stuff like that.
We do. And
way too many years
British
of Top
Bake
Chef.
Off. Oh, yeah. British Bake Off is such a wonderful show because all of the competitors are so supportive of each other. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, if we did that show in the US, they would be all like talking trash about each other.
Walking by and knocking your sugar on the floor.
I mean, I don't know. You know how they are, right? Like they just choose people who are filled with a lot of drama. But in British Bake Off, it's very different because they're all just so warm, and they want to win, of course, but they're encouraging each other. They care about each other.
And these are little kids.
None of this cattiness. And this one's with the kids. And our older daughter loves to watch this with me because it's about the kids and the skills that they can do. And the judges are so encouraging of them. And it really makes her want to get in the kitchen and cook. And there's been times where she's wanted to try recipes from this show. So I think as a practical show, this one is super solid. And if you've had a day where you just feel like you've lost your faith in humanity, like, somebody cut you off on the freeway, nothing's going right, whatever, I feel like
husband burnt the London broil on the grill.
I feel like this is like the redemption. This is like, humanity is good because it's so warm and nice. And I love also modeling for our kids that, just because you're competitive doesn't mean that you can't
be supportive
and kind to people and all of that. It's a great positive modeling show for that reason.
Offer him a hand while you point out the scoreboard. Is that what you're saying? No. So coming off of cooking, and there's this famous woman, Julie Andrews, and she has a show. Imagine if Julie Andrews somehow got greenlit to star in a Muppets movie.
Yes.
But it's a TV show about performing arts.
Yeah, it's called Julie's Green Room, and it's in production with the Jim Henson Company. Yeah. So basically, Julie
Andrews in Muppets.
Yeah, it's Julie Andrews and all these Muppets that are kids, and they bring on famous stars to talk with them about different aspects of the performing arts. And they talk about dance and about singing and rhythm, and you can hear the smile in my voice. I love it. I love theater. So this one is really just
wholesome.
Very wholesome. Yeah,
Cute,
it's wholesome and
delightful.
Heartwarming. And there's lots to learn about the arts in this one, which I think is really cool because it's giving that spotlight to live art
but also the process of creating the art.
Yeah,
which I think is lost on when you consume it. You don't realize all the effort. And we know because you're a stage director.
What? That's not even a thing.
Stage manager.
There you go.
Thank you. I don't know. That's the thing you do twice a year, and you're gone. You abandon us. You might as well have left our home.
Yes, I need a
as I clutch
name
my
tag
pearls,
that says stage director, and everybody's gonna be like, "What is that?"
Put it in quotes and put my name below it.
Yeah.
She's a stage director, yo. Dash husband. So anyway, it's just the creative process. I think the process behind creating, good art is I think it's amazing. There's a lot of like documentaries that I enjoy when they go behind the scenes. I know I think Netflix has one about Formula One and golf as well. Just seeing the work it goes behind. I mean,
yep.
I used to watch like race car racing, and you just watch the 2-hour race and the cars run around, and you just don't even understand the work behind it. Watching something like this kind of in a fun manner kind of give you that idea of, what is behind the process of creating art and creating good art. And that's, I think, a kind of a fun thing to do. Next one we have is kind of like a multi subject. It's kind of universal. It is Storybots. So Ariel, Storybots, hooray!
Yeah. So Storybots.
I love Storybots.
Yeah, I love Storybots too.
If you've done the Torchlight pre-K, they call it a lot of Storybots stuff.
Again, though, I wouldn't say it's just preschool. Definitely, your earlier elementary.
Absolutely.
I mean, our almost third grader still watches Storybots. So, they haven't in a while, but I'm sure she would. Their Storybots are great. I liked Storybots. They're just they're these cute, I don't even know how to describe them.
They're just different colored shaped robots.
Anyway,
very funny.
They're super cute, and they have a kid in the real world, kind of like the way that Sesame Street will cut to a kid in the park who asks questions or answers questions. Well, this is kind of similar. They'll cut to a real kid who will ask some sort of question about some aspect, whether it's science
they'll give an answer on something that's like typical 5-year-old kid answer. It's like, what? And the Storybots will react to that and everything. And there's a lot of songs as well.
There's some really good songs, and the Storybots are always teaching. So they're always trying to answer this question, and they're giving more information. It's super educational.
Both my kids know what an ankylosaurus is because of my name is Frank. I'm built like a tank. I'm an ankylosaurus. I will never not remember that. So yeah, there's a lot of great songs. And what I like about the Storybots is the animation changes from episode to episode. Obviously there's the traditional kind of Storybot animation, but when they get into the songs or they get into different type of little skits they're doing, they change the animation style. It's almost like they tasked a new director and they kind of did something unique and fresh. So from adult standpoint, I admire that, like the fact that you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. So a lot of creativity there. I know that's lost on the kids, but as an adult, when you're like, oh, this is the 12th time I've seen this thing, I go, wow, this is a different style of art medium that they've used before and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of cool. I've always had a soft spot for Storybots.
Well, we hope that this was really helpful for you. Hopefully you discovered a few shows that you hadn't heard of before. We certainly did in researching for this episode, discovered a few things that we're like, oh yeah, we got to get back to that. Or we haven't seen that yet. And I really want to check out. So
they're all rushing there to go watch the Werner Herzog movie.
I want to watch the Chimps one because I only got to see trailers of it and I was like, wow, this looks super engaging. Yeah. And I definitely would like to watch that one. So there's some good things here. If you have a favorite that you love that's educational on Netflix, go ahead and add it into the notes below. If you're watching this on YouTube, add a comment. If you're
or post on the Facebook group.
You're in the Facebook group. Yeah, let everybody know what's your favorite.
Because there's so many
content.
things and there's so many diamonds in the rough because there's just so much content. Feel free to share. That's how everybody learns about these things.
Yep. And we've pretty much only included nonfiction stuff here, but if there's something that is fiction that you think is really worthwhile, then please, let everybody know and let's crowdsource some great content for our kids. Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
happy homeschooling!